In today's video, we aren't simply watching another episode play out on screen. We are being invited into a small, private world. One that feels lived in, slightly messy, filled with warmth, laughter, and the kind of closeness that cannot be manufactured or directed. This isn't content that tries to impress. Doesn't need to. What unfolds feels like fragments of real life, quietly stitched together by a camera that happens to be there while Jimin and Jungkook move through their day exactly as they always do. Naturally, comfortably, and entirely themselves. From the opening moments, the atmosphere is gentle and unguarded. There is no rush, no performance. Jungkook sneaks a bite of pasta when he thinks no one is watching, a tiny act that says far more than words ever could. It's the behavior of someone who feels completely at home, someone who doesn't need permission because familiarity has long replaced formality. Meanwhile, Jimin has already been awake, quietly preparing something special. He wants to surprise Jungkook, and there's a sincerity in that effort that feels almost fragile. Of course, as life tends to do, the plan doesn't unfold smoothly. Jungkook notices what Jimin is doing before the surprise is ready, and the secret spills out into the open. Instead of growing flustered, Jimin does something telling. He commits fully. He decides to cook properly, to take charge of the kitchen and prepare Swiss potato pancakes, rosti, with his own hands. There's confidence in the way he steps forward, as if the kitchen has momentarily become his stage. But confidence meets reality very quickly. The potatoes won't hold together. The oil splashes unpredictably. The neat image Jimin had in his head begins to unravel in real time. His expression shifts, still smiling, still trying to appear calm, but with a tension underneath that's impossible to miss. Anxiety creeps in quietly, and he tries to brush it off, insisting that everything is fine. Jungkook, however, sees through it instantly. He watches closely, his laughter bubbling up, not mocking, never cruel, but affectionate and amused, like someone who knows exactly how this story will end. He offers advice casually, gently, without asserting control. It's the tone of someone who isn't trying to teach but simply wants to help. Still, the rosti refuses to cooperate, and then the oil pops loudly, startling Jimin into a sharp scream. Jungkook bursts into laughter, joking that he won't show mercy, and the moment feels light despite the chaos. Jimin retreats from the stove, embarrassed and overwhelmed, mumbling that this wasn't how he imagined it would go. And this is where something subtle but deeply meaningful happens. Jungkook doesn't push. He doesn't tease further. His voice softens, drops into something more careful as he asks whether Jimin still wants to eat what he made. Jimin lowers his head. He's shy now, exposed in a way that feels almost too honest. He thanks Jungkook quietly for eating it, as if the act itself matters more than the result. When Jungkook praises the taste, even knowing it isn't perfect, the tension dissolves completely. Jimin relaxes, the anxiety melting away, replaced by relief and gratitude. It's a moment built on reassurance, on being seen, supported, and accepted without conditions. As they move on to the pasta, another detail slips in effortlessly, almost unnoticed unless you're paying close attention. Jungkook casually calls Jimin "Dangsin." In Korean, it's a word rarely used lightly, often reserved for couples or relationships marked by deep intimacy. There's no pause, no correction. Jimin simply smiles. He doesn't question it. He doesn't deflect it. The word settles between them like it belongs there. Jungkook hands Jimin a placemat and tells him to eat comfortably. It's such a small gesture, but it carries weight. It's care expressed through habit, not intention. The kind of attentiveness that comes from knowing someone so well that you don't even think about doing these things. You just do them. Their chemistry reveals itself again when the staff asks them to guide a group of around 20 people. Their reactions are almost identical, arriving at the same thought at the same time. Jimin jokes that everyone is already an adult. Jungkook echoes him without hesitation. Laughter fills the room, and it becomes clear how often they operate on the same wavelength. There is no need for planning or signaling. They simply move together. As night settles in and the sky darkens, the mood shifts into something quieter, softer. They look up at the stars, and Jungkook casually points out that one side belongs to Hyung's side, as if even the sky has been divided with Jimin in mind. Jimin jokes back, saying he asked the staff to move the moon so it wouldn't be too distracting. Their humor is light, but beneath it lies something sincere. Jungkook admits that he was genuinely moved, that Jimin prepared everything quietly without saying anything beforehand. There's no dramatic response, no long speech. There doesn't need to be. The silence that follows is warm and settled, filled with understanding. It's the kind of silence that only exists between people who feel safe together. One of the most tender moments arrives without warning. Jungkook feeds Jimin directly with his hand. There's no hesitation, no self-consciousness. The action feels entirely natural, as if this is simply how things are between them. It's closeness without performance, intimacy without explanation. And when they later greet the viewers and introduce the next episode, their energy is light and cheerful, perfectly reflecting the journey we've just witnessed. During their travel journal sketch session, their synchronicity emerges once again. Their drawings turn out strikingly similar, mirroring each other in a way that feels almost symbolic. They talk about Switzerland, the overwhelming presence of the Matterhorn, the stillness of lakes that reflect the sky like glass, the rush of paragliding through open air. Jimin quietly admits that it's a place he wants to visit again. Jungkook calls it the coolest mountain he's ever seen. Their smiles linger, heavy with shared memory. They revisit Danong too, the oppressive heat, bowls of pho that tasted better than expected, and the thrill of parasailing for the first time. There's laughter over a moment the camera failed to capture, forcing them to reenact it. Even their travel journal titles align without intention. Jimin writes about flying in the sky. Jungkook writes about flying over the sea. Different words, same emotion. Throughout the episode, they tease each other effortlessly, drift closer without realizing it, share space as if it has always belonged to both of them. Nothing feels forced. Nothing feels exaggerated. This isn't fan service. It's the quiet language of two people who have long learned how to exist together, through food, through laughter, through silence. And then, the narrative expands beyond this intimate bubble into a completely different world. One that, surprisingly, feels just as connected. The global fashion and beauty scene was shaken once again when Jungkook was officially announced as the new global ambassador for Chanel fragrances and beauty. The news spread instantly, rippling across the world with admiration and awe. Chanel described Jungkook as the perfect embodiment of their DNA. Timeless yet modern, refined yet fearless. In a short but poetic message, Jungkook spoke of Chanel as a fashion house close to his heart, one that honors its classical roots while constantly evolving. As an artist, he shared, he strives to stay true to his identity while embracing new challenges. The collaboration for him is deeply meaningful. Chanel's creative director echoed this sentiment, praising Jungkook as a new energy for the brand, an artist whose influence reaches far beyond music into art, culture, and fashion itself. Soon after, another powerful announcement followed, this time centered on Jimin. He was officially named Global Ambassador for Later. Unlike the bold elegance of Chanel's reveal, Later introduced Jimin through poetry. Their announcement unfolded like a story, woven with moonlight, golden hues, and symbolism centered around the osmanthus flower, the moon flower. In East Asian folklore, osmanthus is said to bloom on the moon, representing endurance, quiet strength, and eternal beauty. The symbolism feels almost too fitting. Jimin embodies that same duality, gentle yet resilient, soft-spoken yet profoundly influential. Later confirmed the launch of a new osmanthus-inspired fragrance this December, with Jimin as its face. It feels less like a campaign and more like a narrative, a carefully crafted reflection of who he is. To mark the beginning of this new chapter, Jimin's ambassador photos will be unveiled at Later's flagship store, signaling the start of what many are already calling the Jimin times Later era. Jungkook times Chanel radiates power, modernity, and refined elegance. Jimin times Later radiates serenity, light, and timeless grace. Two artists. Two luxury houses. Two distinct paths, yet one shared direction. From a chaotic kitchen mishap to monumental global announcements, Jimin and Jungkook continue to move forward side by side, growing individually while remaining deeply connected. In music, fashion, beauty, and art, they are not just participating in history. Quietly, effortlessly, they are making it.